six groups of fundamental rights: right to equality, 5 articles I already talked about. Then right to liberty, here also 5 articles are there. Then right against exploitation, right to religion, minority rights. Minority rights are also known as cultural and educational rights. And finally, we also talk about the right to constitutional remedies. So here I am talking about right to liberty, and within that, or liberty or freedom. So this right to liberty and freedom, there are 5 articles in it. Sometimes you may get confused a bit, because article 19 is there, 20, 21, 21A, then 22. All of them are related to liberty. So, and in fact, these the right to personal liberty is the most important of all the fundamental rights. It is the right to liberty is the most important of all fundamental rights. And 19 to 22, that means 19, 20, 21, 21A, 22, that deals with various aspects of our liberty. It deals with various aspects of our liberty. It deals with various aspects of our liberty, and these five liberties, or these 5 belonging to this chapter on liberty, these 5 freedoms belonging to chapter on liberty is the backbone of the fundamental rights. So I will say, let me just add one sentence. The chapter on liberty is the backbone of the chapter on fundamental rights. So, I mean, if you are a bit confused, I would like to say that the chapter on liberty is the backbone of the fundamental rights. Let me just write rights. So, the chapter on liberty is the backbone of the fundamental rights itself. Very, very crucial. If there is no liberty, there are no fundamental rights. Please understand that way. Liberty is the essence of our fundamental rights. Equality is important, right against exploitation is important, right to religion is important, but it's true. But when it comes to all the fundamental rights, I will say right to equality, right to liberty is the most fundamental of all. That is the backbone of all the fundamental rights. That is what we would like to say. I said there are 5 articles in this. 19, it talks about 6 basic freedoms. Please don't forget, article 19 deals with 6 basic freedoms. Then article 20, it deals with at the time of conviction. If you are about to be convicted for an offense, these are rights at the time of conviction. If you are about to be convicted by a court, you have certain rights. Okay, that is article 20. Then article 21 That is again, I will say among the 5, maybe this is the most fundamental, right to life and liberty, right to life and personal liberty. So, right to life and liberty is Article 21. Then 21A, it is very closely related to our personal liberty, the right to education. And finally, Article 22, it deals with your rights during arrest. When you are about to be arrested, the rights at the time of arrest. If you are arrested by the police, or if you are about to be arrested by police, let me just correct it, arrest. When you are about to be arrested, or during the arrest, or immediately after arrest, what are your rights? That is what Article 22 speaks about. So, there are 5 different articles in right to freedom, and now let me, and this liberty, and let me talk about Article 19 specifically in this article, in this particular video. Coming to Article 19. So, this Article 19 deals with, the 19 says the protection of certain rights regarding the freedom of speech, etc. So, this Article 19, I would like to call it as the 6 basic freedoms related to freedom of speech, etc. But 6 basic freedoms we talk about. Earlier there should be 7, but we have removed one, that we have 6 basic freedoms. So, now which is under Article 19? Article 19(1) deals with 6 basic freedoms. So, 1 and A. So, 2 brackets, that means 2 sub clauses. So, whenever you write something, suppose 19(1), that means it's a sub clause. It is within 19, there are certain provisions. That is why 1, 2, 3 in bracket. If anything in brackets means it is part of the article, part of 19, or like 18, we have seen 4, 18(1), 18(2), 18(3), 18(4), like that. So, it is sub clause of 18. So, similarly, we are talking about the sub clauses within Article 19, 19(1)(a), it deals with freedom of speech and expression. Okay. So, 1A deals with freedom of speech and expression. It's a bit controversial also, because no government wants to give all of us a full freedom. So, Article 19(1)(a) deals with freedom of speech and expression. Article 19(1)(b), it deals with the freedom to assemble peacefully and without arms. To assemble peacefully and without arms. So, you cannot carry arms and assemble. Okay, you can assemble peacefully, you can have a meeting, you can have a protest meeting, or you can have any meeting for that matter, you can assemble peacefully. See, these days, the government is also trying to prevent people from assembling by declaring, that section 144, curfew type. So, indiscriminate use of curfew is against the spirit of Article 19(1)(b), but unfortunately, these days the state will say, I have not given permission on one pretext or other. The state is not giving permission, or rather the police is not giving permission to people to assemble and all. It is, in fact, many a times the High Court and Supreme Court have interfered and said that you cannot indiscriminately stop people from assembling. So, they have a right to assemble. So, and that without arms, that's all. You cannot carry arms and all. So, what amounts to an arm, like lathis and all, you may not be able to allow to carry, but otherwise you can assemble peacefully and without Article 19(1)(b). Now, coming to Article 19(1)(c). Article 19(1)(c), it talks about to form associations or unions or cooperatives. To form associations or unions or cooperatives. See, this cooperative word was added only in 2012, but otherwise originally it was to form association or union. Now this cooperative word also has been added. I will be talking about that separately. So that is Article 19(1)(c). Then coming to Article 19(1)(d). Article 19(1)(d), that is to move freely throughout the territory of India. To move freely throughout the territory of India. Your freedom to move freely throughout the territory of India, that is D. Then Article 19(1)(e). Of course, there are, these are all subject to reasonable restriction. I will come to that, but it says then to reside and settle in any part of the territory of India. To reside and settle in any part of India. So you have a freedom to reside and settle in any part of India. So that is Article 19(1)(e). And then there is Article 19(1)(f). 19(1)(f). Now this has been removed. Okay, this has been removed as part of the 44th Amendment Act. 44th Amendment Act removed Article 19(1)(f), where the right to property. So that has been removed. It is not part of this, Article 19 right now. F has been removed. Then Article 19(1)(g). That is to practice any profession or to carry on any occupation, trade or business. To practice any profession or to carry on any occupation or to carry on any occupation or trade or business. So you see 6 basic freedoms. Originally there were 7. I am repeating Article 19(1)(a), the freedom of speech and expression. So I have already mentioned the speech and expression. 19(1)(b), to assemble peacefully but without arms. Then 19(1)(c), to form association, union or cooperatives. That is 19(1)(c). Then 1(d), to move freely throughout the territory of India. 1(e), to reside and to settle in any part of India. F has been removed. G, to practice any profession, trade, occupation or business. So there are right now there are 6 basic freedoms. Okay, so that is part of Article 19. But please remember, these freedoms, very important, very, very important, these freedoms are subject to, these are, the pillars of democracy, everything is fine, but these are subject to reasonable restrictions. These are subject to reasonable restrictions. So these are not absolute. Please remember, Article 19 is very important, but they are not absolute. They are subject to reasonable restrictions. There can be reasonable restrictions. So please remember, there can be reasonable restrictions, but they are pillars of democracy, we can say. Now coming to Article 19(1)(a) a bit more. 19(1)(a) is freedom of speech and expression. So this also includes, Article 19(1)(a) includes, even though not directly mentioned, the freedom of press. It includes the freedom of press, or we can say Article 19(1), from 19(1)(a), freedom of press is an inferred right. It is an inferred right. It is, we can infer freedom of press because this in one's expression, the freedom of speech and expression. So one has the 3-4 meanings of Article 19(1)(a). One is you have a right to express your opinion. Express one's opinion. That means you can express your opinion. That is what in a newspaper, suppose Hindu newspaper if you are reading, or any newspaper for that matter, the newspaper writes its editorial, their opinion about any issue. So it is expressing one's opinion. Then it has, you have a right to express others' opinion. Others' opinion. So you have a right to express others' opinion. You can express not only your opinion, you can express others' opinion. Then a third point about freedom, this right to freedom of speech and expression is, you have a right to have access to others' opinion. Right to have access to others' opinion. See, that is why in a newspaper will write articles. Newspaper will write articles of others. We very clearly mentioned this expression, the opinion expressed is the authors, not necessarily the newspaper. It's also written there. And when you get the newspaper every day morning at your home, it is your right to access others' opinion. So these 3 points of right to freedom of speech and expression, these three add up to form the freedom of press. These three add up to form the press freedom. So please remember, Article 19(1)(a) talks about freedom of speech and expression. So you can express your opinion, you can have speech, you can tell what you want to tell, but of course there can be reasonable restrictions. I am not coming to that reasonable restriction right now. Let me talk about what are these rights. But every right in Article 19 is subject to reasonable restriction. I will come to that separately. So you have a right to express, but in the process you cannot do certain things that I will be talking separate. So Article 19(1)(a). 19(1)(b), as I told you, your right to assemble, but peacefully, without arms. Please remember, you have a right to assemble, but without arms. It's very important. There are many instances where, there was sometimes many years before, I still remember, a Trishul Diksha program by, I think, some of these, right-wing, the Hindu groups. They were giving Trishul. See, Trishul can be given as a symbolic, or symbolically you can give. Suppose, suppose the Christians want to give a cross, a symbolic cross can be given. But instead of that, if somebody is giving a weapon-like cross, which you can use to hit somebody, or if a Trishul is given such a way that, it's like a sharp-edged weapon, and if you can push into somebody's stomach, if you can literally kill a person by using the Trishul, that is not permitted. So you can use a symbolic Trishul can be there, a symbolic cross can be there, a symbolic crescent can be there in some of the meetings, that is okay. But if you are assembling with a purpose of harming somebody else, if there is a likelihood of harming somebody else, you can be stopped from doing that. But otherwise, without arms is very important. You have to assemble peacefully. Then Article 19(1)(c) talks about your right to form association or union or cooperative. But this right does not include, please remember, this does not include your right to strike. See, striking, or rather, right to strike and protest, or right to not to work, a strike is declared, these kind of things, it will not come under 19(1)(c). According to Supreme Court, right to form association, right to form union, right to form cooperative, that is okay, but there is no right to strike under Article 19. There is no right to strike under. Right to strike is a legal right. It is a legal right, not a fundamental right. According to Supreme Court, there is no fundamental right of striking, but you have a right to protest. In democracy, we have a right to form association, right to form union, you can protest. So those things are, it cannot be termed as a fundamental right. It can be like any other, normal human right. You have a right to, right to strike, but not as a fundamental right. Supreme Court has repeatedly made it very clear there is no right to, strike. And when it comes to armed forces, please remember, one thing very important about Article 19(1)(c), in armed forces are not just about Army and Navy or Air Force, even the police force, they are all armed forces. Armed forces have, the members of armed forces have no right to form associations or unions. There can be a welfare association or a welfare society for the whole police force. A police welfare society can be there, but no association, no union, no politics in the armed force. Even civilians working for armed forces or working under the armed forces, even civilians cannot form associations or unions if they are working under armed forces. You may be a computer operator in a police station. You are a civilian. You are not a police you are not recruited as a policeman. But even such civilians cannot form association, or a sweeper or a peon in the police station cannot form association or union. So there are restrictions for the armed forces. Armed forces cannot form association or union. Similarly, Article 19(1)(d) to move freely throughout the territory of India. So 19(1)(d) to move freely, free movement, travel throughout the territory, but again subject to reasonable restriction. You need not, see, for example, please remember, it is subject to the security of the country. Security of the country. Then peaceful living of even tribal communities and all, the movement, your movement should not be affecting innocent societies, should not affect tribal societies. So there is a provision for, you have free movement, tribal societies, or certain areas are, in the forest we are not allowed to move around because it can affect the ecology and ecosystem, it can affect the environment. So there can be restrictions on that. Similarly, Article 19(1)(e) residing, same thing, Article 19(1)(e) to reside. Your freedom to reside anywhere in the country, you can go and settle anywhere in the country, but still again subject to the condition. See, in the tribal community areas, you cannot go and settle somewhere. You cannot go and settle just like that as an outsider. You may not be able to allow to settle in, say, Arunachal Pradesh or in Nagaland or in Mizoram or in Meghalaya. So there are restrictions for residing in various parts of the country. In tribal areas in Madhya Pradesh, maybe in Orissa. So there are restrictions, there can be reasonable restrictions in the settlement to reside and settle, again subject to reasonable restrictions can be there. And also Article 19(1)(g), I already said it is right to have any profession. But this 19(1)(g), even Article 301, this is also right to practice any profession, or trade and commerce, right to practice trade and commerce. And Article 19(1)(g) also says you right to practice any profession. It includes trade and commerce also. But the difference here is Article 19(1)(g) is a fundamental right. This right of practicing trade and commerce in 301 is not a fundamental right. So in 19(1)(g), if your fundamental right is violated, you can approach the Supreme Court directly. If there is a violation of your right in Article 19(1)(g), if you think you are as a person, your right is violated, then you can approach the Supreme Court directly. But if it is through 301, you have no right to approach the Supreme Court directly. That's the difference. Otherwise, and again, 301 may be for even non-citizens. Article 301, trade and commerce, it can be Amazon company or XYZ company or Tata. See, fundamental rights are available for citizens, not for these entities like a public limited company or a private limited company. It is not available. So 301, if their rights are violated because of the actions of the state, they can go to the High Court, not the Supreme Court directly. But you as a citizen, or me as a citizen, if my right to do the profession, suppose my right to teach, if it is restricted by the state, I can go to Supreme Court directly. But as a company, if ALS's rights to conduct a course or other to teach something, if it is restricted by the state, The ALS cannot go to the Supreme Court directly because ALS is not a citizen. So there ALS may be going to the High Court under Article 301, whereas me as an individual, if I had to go to the court, I can go to Supreme Court directly. Otherwise, both are talking about right to practice any profession. Even 301 talks about trade and commerce. Trade and commerce, the profession can include trade and commerce, but there is a difference between 19(1) and Article 301. I mean, incidentally, I talked about 301. My aim was not to talk about Article 301. Anyway, so Article 19, bottom line is 6 basic freedoms are talked about, and as I mentioned already, Article 19(1)(a), it talks about speech and expression. 1(b), assemble peacefully without arms. 1(c), to form association, union or cooperatives. 1(d), to move freely throughout the territory of India. 1(e), to reside in any part of India. 1(f) was there, but it has been removed by 44th Amendment Act 1978. 1978, 44th Amendment Act 19(1)(f) has been removed. 19(1)(g), to practice any profession or to carry on any occupation. So these are the 6 basic freedoms, but these freedoms are not absolute. Reasonable restriction can be there. I will talk about these reasonable restrictions separately. So this is about Article 19 and the 6 basic freedoms.